Good afternoon. It's Monday, the 12th day of February, the 12th day of the Black History Month celebration, coming from the black man who reads aloud, Joe Hall. Today's celebration post is directed at one of my heroes. It is said, given the correct circumstances, this powerful prophet of justice and peace would have been as recognized or even more recognized in either Malcolm X or Martin Luther King Jr. It is also said that no one person spoke truth to power more effectively than this defiant defender of justice. It is said that if you wanted one person, just one person, to go into battle with against the oppressors of injustice, this person would have been the person chosen. It is said that this person came within a whisper of being savagely beaten to death in a jailhouse in Mississippi, but she was nevertheless undeterred in her personal battle to erase injustice within the borders of this nation. Today, I decided to pay tribute on this 12th day of February to a staunch defender of human rights for Black Americans by giving my personal reflections on some of her most poignant words. Today's look on moments in Black history post is about a woman whose place in American history ranks side by side with Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Sojourner Truth, Ida Bell Wells, Shirley Chisholm, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, Bobby Seale, Huey Newton, Medgar Evers, Thurgood Marshall, and all the others who have sought for a better day for each and every Black American living and breathing today. Today I ask that you go out and ask somebody if they know the name Fannie Lou Hamer. With the people, for the people, by the people. I crack up when I hear it. I say, with the handful, by the handful, for the handful, because that's what really happens. This is Fannie Lou Hamer dishing real talk in the late to early 1960s. This statement is circled what 1960 was absolute point on, and it still is today. When the income disparity between blacks and whites is just as terrible today as it was when Fannie Lou Hamer first spoke that, how can it not be true? How can we as people not scream to both political parties saying enough already? I don't care if it's Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, Cruz, or DeSantis, or all these other politicians who have evaded providing justice in some way to blacks in America today. Oh yeah, it's a known fact that Bernie Sanders was on the front line of the civil rights movement in the 1960s. But being on that front secured what for us and how much more for Bernie Sanders. Hillary Clinton spent 8 years in the White House, 6 more in the federal state house. And how did her service and government to Americans benefit us more than it benefits her to this day? Barack Obama, first elected black president, spent 8 years in the White House. Now he has his own mansion in the Hamptons, valued at some say $15 million. How does that help us as a people and him personally? Do I need to talk about what justice the various white Republican candidates have managed to service on the plates of justice to Black Americans? All these men and women have been on this planet since Fannie Lou Hamer spoke these words, and each of them could have taken a mantle for true justice for Black Americans. Each one of them could have stood behind the late John Conyers efforts for Black Americans to gain some measure of reparatory justice for damages. Don't those of color facing or who face the whips of oppression in repression in this nation deserve reparations? Yet the question asked of their political allies was that they could not support to damage the credibility of their own personal or political stature at the time. I'm not running towards this burning house of injustice any longer with my eyes closed. My eyes are wide open only to those who specify real relief to our communities, not piecemeal crumbs simply meant to quiet but not solve the significant issues facing our Black communities in this nation today. Fannie said this also: if the white man gives you anything, just remember when he gets ready, he will take it back. We have to take it for ourselves. We should have learned that lesson when we were given the supposed 40 acres and a mule after the Civil War, and President Andrew Johnson snatched it back. Yes, Fannie Lou Hamer spoke truth to justice. Fannie Lou Hamer knew personally of the savageness of oppression. On June 11, 1963, Fannie took one of the most sadistic, brutal beatings at the hands of the white oppressors ever, simply because Fannie stood up and was not about to stand down to justice. The sick nature of this act of oppression is that the vicious beating was inflicted and forced on by two Black men. They were used as agents of violence, and they inflicted this repressive act of violence on the body of Fannie Lou Hamer. Those sadistic white men who controlled justice in the state of Mississippi stood by in glee as these two men beat Fannie Hamer within a whisper of her life. That may have silenced any normal person of color. However, there was nothing normal, and there was nothing normal or anything usual about Fannie Lou Hamer. Fannie Lou Hamer was a sister of enormous strength, as well as a blinding realization that injustice could not, it would not silence her desire to seek true justice for herself and all other peoples of color. Was it not Fannie Lou Hamer who defiantly spoke these words? Nobody's free until everybody's free. If my brothers and sisters as a community of people are to fully reach the pinnacle of true justice in America, we cannot accept those who purport to emphasize with our concerns but are in reality working the back rooms of injustice against us. They are plotting ways to disservice our support and not truly benefit the Black communities that are in need. You cannot help to get where you need to go with compromise. How long can compromise and small talk continue to be the solution to conditions created to dismantle a community's ability to progress? On the night before Martin Luther King's assassination, he spoke of retribution of the pain in that church in Memphis on April 3rd. What Fannie Lou Hamer says is in the same ballpark. Only we as a people can rebuild what has truly never been ours to build in this nation. We must demand from those who want our dollars, our votes, bodies, and energies for defined solutions that will be implemented by us, for us. It's not asking for a separation of the races anymore. It's simply realizing the fact that you were asked to provide solutions to our Black community problems, and you as a nation has failed to deliver. Now is the time for our peoples to take control of the situation. Don't have no hard feelings. Fannie Lou Hamer also said, but you see, baby, whether you have a PhD or a DD or no D, we're in this bag together. Whether you are from Morehouse or no house, we're still in this bag together. You see this happening all over the country today. The separation of blacks by economic stature, by political affiliations. She can sing, he can't. He can dribble a basketball, he can't. He can catch a football, he can't. He can be successful because he can do those things, you can't. Fannie Lou Hamer, don't come too strong now. You don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, do you? In a country today that has shown no respect, no matter the stature of the people of color, period. The statement is simply as relevant in 2024 as it was in 1964. The unemployment rate for blacks in all categories of educational levels is twice that of their white counterparts. Even a white high school graduate has more economic resources available to him than a college graduate, black college graduate. That means if you don't have a high school diploma, you're twice as likely to be unemployed as the white person beside you. It also means if you have a high school diploma, you are twice as likely to be unemployed as the white person beside you. If you have some college but not a degree, you're twice as likely to be unemployed as the white person beside you. Finally, if you even have that college degree, you're still twice as likely to be unemployed as a white person beside you. The American bag of racism is open for business still in America in 2024. In 2024. A slip of the tongue, but in reality it's no different in 1924 or 2024. We must remain cognizant of that fact. The best way to overcome those who deny justice and make the devil a liar is to build our own, to take it for ourselves, as Fannie Lou Hamer would say. White Americans today don't know in the world what to do because they put us behind them. And that's where they made their mistake. They put us behind them and we watched every move they made. Fannie Lou Hamer said that. All right, Fannie Lou Hamer, I hear you, my sister. You provoked, confronted, slammed, kicked, slapped, and met injustice head on in this country during your time. We should have and should listen to your powerful words of wisdom. You see, as a community of people, we've always stood behind our white brothers and sisters. We've allowed our white brothers and sisters to jive and connive us for far too long. I'm sure you know, or you should know, that Fannie Lou Hamer was taken from us far too soon in life. Fannie Lou Hamer died at the age of 59. The death certificate may say cancer and hypertension, but we know white America killed Fannie Lou Hamer. It drove the stake of oppression and repression into her life each and every day until the toil of those weapons of hate finally did the job of silencing her voice. Had she lived another 20 years or so, her mark on this nation's black people seeking true justice would have been more historic than it was. I personally never met Fannie Lou Hamer. She died the year I graduated from Morgan State University in 1977. Yet I and others like myself were indeed the agents of Fannie Lou Hamer. Those individuals sworn to keep the powerful words of this majestic queen of true justice alive while we walk this planet. Fannie Lou Hamer was born before her time, but lived in the times in which she was born. Can you imagine the greatness of a Fannie Lou Hamer today? Can you imagine if the world had 100 Fannie Lou Hamers? If you ever get the chance, go read Fannie Lou Hamer, We're on Our Way, the speech she gave in September of 1964 at the Negro Baptist School in Anoka, Mississippi. Or read the book, Until Everybody's Free. Wonderful book, been read on the Black Man's Read Aloud Hour. During this speech, Fannie Lou Hamer encapsulated everything about what Black America should be looking for on that night in Anoka, Mississippi. Fannie Lou Hamer is indeed one of the most historic women in the history of this nation. This country should build a monument honoring the work of this woman who saw the hatred of oppression and dealt with it personally on her righteous stands. Yet she never yielded to the onslaught of that oppression. I hope you enjoyed these words this morning, Fannie Lou Hamer. It aligned with the words because I aligned with the words because it provided me a measure of redemption this morning. If you brothers and sisters don't know the life and times of Fannie Lou Hamer during this Black History Month, go to your libraries, go to the computer, go to Google, go to Safari, go to Yahoo, go to wherever you must go and read as much as you can on this wonderful, miraculous Black woman. Thank you.